I am going to put a heartfelt apology out this evening. It was one of those days. So I did post this a bit late, and I am sorry. Oh, thanks, Kat. You love the countdown. Kat, I sent you an email, I think, today. I had so many emails to return also. Oh my gosh, it was one of those crazy, crazy days. So, welcome to the Groomer's Cut. And it might just be me and Michelle for a little bit, but we might have the other two jump in. Oh, yes, we do. Jennifer, here she is. Hello.
Hey there.
Just in time.
The link that you sent was not for a speaker. I had to use last week's link.
That got you to the right place.
Oh, it did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was just doing our quick intro, and I wanted to apologize to everybody for being late and setting this up. So I'm sorry I set it up so late. Here comes Miss Melissa. Here we are. Now you got us all.
Hi. Sorry, technical difficulties.
You're right on time with everyone else. I just want to make sure before we get going that everybody who is watching, listening, welcome to the Groomer's Cut. I think by now you all know us, and I do like to do a quick introduction. Over.
Groomer Jen wanted to see me dancing to the music there.
Yes, I know. You always do, so we miss that.
I love the music.
All of us are here. Myself, Dara Forleo, Michelle Knowles. I'm going through here. Melissa Conti-Diener and Jennifer Bishop Jenkins. So
hello, everybody.
Ladies again for joining me. For everyone who's joining us, welcome to the Groomer's Cuts. We are the Pet Pro Educators. And tonight, if you are viewing for the first time or viewing us later on, and we want to see your name, so please give Facebook permission for StreamYard to see your name. That way we can see it. You're not going to see all of the comments. We see all the comments. I think between all of us, we try to keep up and watch as your comments are coming in. If we get much more busier, we're going to need to appoint somebody to come in just to man our comment stations. So please make sure you give permission so we're not calling you Facebook user. Yes. And tonight I want to start with, has anyone gone back? Did you ladies go back and watch anybody else's on the summit? I have not. I just got it in, so I'm going to
one of our comments in the chat room already was just praising the Skin and Coat Summit last weekend. Wow. And I attended it, not just spoke at it, but I attended every single program, and it was a game changer.
Yeah, I got to go on. I think I have a few more days left, but it's hard to watch those after. You got to do it live. You got to do it live.
I know. I lost my internet for a minute, so I missed just a couple of people. So I got to go back. Jennifer, you're on my list. Michelle, I caught your good stuff, and I caught almost everybody else. But Jennifer, I'm taking yours with a notebook and a pen, so I can. Every time I take them, I grab something different. I've seen some of Michelle's material. I've been listening to different versions of it for years, and every time I walk away with something new and different. And I've not ever seen yours, Jennifer, so I'm excited to do yours.
Yeah, the 15 coat types thing is really, I mean, look, I didn't make this up. The list is, it's out there in the dog show world, what these coat types, it's just kind of a discussion about what we can all agree to in terms of calling them. I've just taken basically Carla Addington Smith's list and expanded it. But it is
a great book.
Yeah. And she's the only person who ever published a list of coat type names. And I just built on it, and I got her permission to do so. But I think that just putting it in list form and trying to come to some consensus around what we already know, that with wire coats, you've got to do some hand stripping or else the hair follicle gets damaged. And with flat coats, you shouldn't be taking clippers to their backs, only trimming the undersides, and just things that every show dog person knows for sure. And it just puts it all into a very cohesive list, which is really great for beginner groomers as well.
Well, I think a big part of it too is that no matter if we take anybody's stuff, how do we take that information and then transform it into usable information for us on a daily basis?
Yeah.
My goal in my little goal notebook is to continuously take classes. Like I've never seen your presentation before, your class. So for me, I want to try and take away things that I can apply, especially to the feline end of it, because there's so far and few bits of information out there. So if I could expand on, what you guys, because I basically built my theory and practice on what I was taught by Michelle. So
exactly, me too. I was going to say my 15 coat types started with Michelle Knowles, who taught me about.
And I always teach. I'm going to teach everything I know, and then I'm going to teach you how you can pick it apart.
Well, the
point is to find the actual answer.
The short, medium, and long that you taught, Michelle, that you taught me, 7 or 8 years ago, that list was of the 3 was based on the veterinary handbook. This one, right?
Yes, and not that version, but yes, it is based on the research.
I got it too.
Yeah,
I have it too. It's in my office.
And the theory was actually based on your coat types as well. So I mean, the information has been there for a long, long, long time. I think it's unique that Jennifer has brought this aspect, because, you get old in the tooth and you think, okay, yeah, I understand coat types. And she comes along and brought a depth to me that I understood and I knew, but it just gave a depth, a profoundness to the information that I already knew, that really gave me new eyes and a new perception about how to think about that deep skin and how to really work on it and manipulate the fibers of all those coat types. It's a joy. I think it is necessary. It's an elementary necessary history on the animals that we work on every day. I think it's really important to know those things. They're basic. They're elementary.
And I do try to tie it into the function of the coat as the dog was bred to be in its natural function. So yeah, it's just the school teacher eyes that I brought to it. But I'm so glad you're going to watch it, Melissa. I'd love to know what you think about it.
Really, it's on my calendar too. I cleared the
space. The first thing I did was I ran to Michelle and said, how do these 15 coat types line up to the 3 short, medium, and long in terms of product need?
Right.
And I put Michelle's sort of spectral product applications to how it fits to those coat types. And I lined it up to the 8 genetic coat types that are posted on the National Institutes of Health dog genome.
I love all that. I love the fact that we're collaborating, even when we're not really sitting next to each other collaborating, but we are collaborating and we're supporting each other. And it ties into what's our topic tonight, Dara? Holistic?
Holistic, and what holistic means to us, or what that term is. Yeah.
And that falls right into that category, because it's, for at least for me, I won't speak for you ladies, but for me, holistic means body, mind, and spirit. So that means that we're looking at all parts, the whole entire animal, and not just a haircut, or a bath or a nail trimming, that we want to understand that animal completely instead of looking at it like piecework.
I agree. It's like a recipe that's been handed down from your great-great-grandmother. You can hand that recipe to a stranger outside of the family, but how would they know how she prepares her ingredients? How will they know how many times she sifts the flour? It will never be the same as she did it, because she's passed those traditions all the way down. And sometimes those nuances that we don't know yet, we make a connection with a fellow colleague. I remember a little thing that I heard about hot and cold water. And I asked my mentor at the time, I was a very young groomer. She's like, oh, use cold water on the rinse and it'll help the hair come out. And I was like, why? And she's like, I don't know, it just helps. So of course I had to research that. And that was one of my little points of light that meshed. And as we share our information and as we grow and learn more, everybody has a different viewpoint. There's viewpoints that have not yet been reached yet by new students. So I'm always on the lookout for that pearl, that gem, that idea, how I hold my sprayer, how I apply the shampoo, do I use big circles or little circles? I'm always looking for those little pieces. And I think that's why collaboration and holistic grooming are so important. You are looking at everything. You're looking at the whole pet. You're looking at the environment by which they come. What kind of parent do they have? You can tell by when they come into you, if their houses are maybe not so clean on a regular basis, and the ones who are very well cared for. You can ask all those questions. So if you keep all those things in mind, and breed characteristics and nutrition and on and on and on, you get a really good picture of that particular unique being in front of you.
And obviously holistic comes from the word whole. And I have to say that I really like, I'm going to use a sort of a psychological term, integrity. The word integrity comes from the word integer, meaning a wholeness or a oneness, right? So that to be a person of integrity means that you are, that you're not chopping off pieces of you and saying, well, I'm going to leave my conscience at home and I'm going to just do this job, the way that makes me the most money or whatever. So I think
amen. I'm sorry. That's an amen moment there.
That's holistic to me evokes the word integrity, but it's also the wholeness, obviously, of the dog before you. And so I completely agree with you, Michelle and Melissa. It is, it's the whole animal. And so I'm not just there working on giving it a haircut. I still have some employees, and I struggle with this as an employer. And it's because I got it's really weird right now. In my entire grooming career, I've never seen this, but I have all these guys, heterosexual men, they're married, they're children, it started when I hired this one guy, and then I hired his brother, and then I hired his friend. And, anyway, I've got like 5 guys working for me full time that are, they're all, one's a Navy veteran. We've got a whole ton of these guys, and they just talk to each other all the time, and they're really interested in, each other, and they do their jobs and they do them well. But I'm trying to teach them to get into the dog, the whole dog, like talking to the dog, like, imagining what the dog is feeling. So what you were saying, Melissa, about body, mind, spirit, that you're not just there to treat the hair on the dog, the dog is a full functioning, sentient being.
And that, I think that we get so far removed from that. I really do. As groomers, I know that was something that I had to kind of almost like a come to Jesus moment. Like, okay, if I'm going to acknowledge that this animal is going to be feeling everything I'm doing, understanding what I'm trying to convey to them as I work on them. And if I'm going to take time to talk to the owner and spend that kind of time with the owner to get information and all that, I have to also spend that kind of time to get myself right and balance myself to meet this animal where I need to meet it. You know what I mean? And for me, energetically, because we so quickly just grab hold of that animal and just get into that work mode where we're like, this is, some would call them A, some would call them B, some would call them C. And this is how we do things. And we just get that train on the track and we just let go of all of that animal being a being. And my experience.
I would recommend a book, and it's not a holistic book in terms of being sort of from that school of thought, but it would feed holistic approaches. It's called The Other End of the Leash by Patricia McConnell. It's a veterinary book.
Yeah.
She's a veterinarian, and she writes about what the experience is like from the dog's point of view. Mm-hmm. And, I've drawn pieces of it. For example, the experience of colognes and scents and fragrance, mm-hmm. and how much more huge their olfactory sensitivity is than ours, and how if you spray a cologne on it that smells good to you, or if you put a shampoo on it that smells good to you, it's more like experience. She likens some of it to like dropping an atom bomb on them, where it's just like overwhelming for them.
What was her name, Jennifer? Sorry.
Patricia McConnell. And she's a DVM. She's also a PhD DVM, the other end of the leash. And a lot of it is about the experience of from the dog's perspective, what the science, and it's very science driven, what the science tells you about what the dog's experience. But we know that the dogs are sentient beings. We know that they have communication abilities. We have science, and this is in my Groomer's Guide to Purebred Dogs workshop and my human dog coevolution workshop, the science about what we know about from MRIs that have been done on dogs, from studies about oxytocin levels in the brain, studies that have used lasers and computers to track where dogs look at us in our face muscles, where they read the muscles in our face to read our emotions, and how they can actually then feel and react and feel the emotions that we feel. And if we're stressed and frustrated and we don't really give a damn about them and we just want to get the job done and get home as soon as possible and collect the money from our client, if that's all we're doing with our dogs, the dog's going to know that. And that is why I think the word holistic is so important.
I think we get out of that little box where we're like, did you ever drive and then realize I would totally don't even remember how I got here, like where you just zone out. I think that's how so many of us work anymore, because we're just, okay, it's a number 2 snap-on comb. I know what I'm doing, and it's face, feet, and fanny. I know what I'm doing, and that actual animal never really enters into the picture.
I call that an efficient groomer. And there's nothing wrong with an efficient groomer.
No.
But you do lose something intangible, you lose some of that life force if you can't make that connection, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, why would you go into dog grooming if you're an efficient groomer? Because it's not.
I think we get like that though over time.
Yeah, I think you become an efficient groomer. I've got one in my salon. She's fantastic, and the dogs love her, and there's nothing wrong with it. But sometimes she will just be so focused, and the dog's like, and I'm like, hey, and she's like, oh yeah, and she'll back off and realize that, oh, I'm just a little bit focused. Yeah, Terry, you go on autopilot. So I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but just
how many
you have some kind of a mechanism to bring you back into a balanced state, so you're actually aware again. Yeah.
How many times do you see that dog that's dancing, and the groomer's like, oh my God, this dog just won't stay still, and it just won't listen, and it won't. The next thing you know, it pees on the table, and then they're mad. Because they're like, oh my God, it's peeing. It's,
the dog was trying to tell you.
Exactly. Yeah. It's trying to let you know. So, hey, I don't want to pee here, but,
I'm
so
gonna.
Yeah, I'm gonna if you're not going to pay attention to me. And so, yeah, that's about shifting that focus. I have a question
I'm going to jump over really quick. Hold on. I just want to throw out some comments over here. So I like what Kim said. Ian Dunbar also. We have that one, and we have the other end of the leash on our book in our library at the shop for everyone. Those are great books. I do like Ian Dunbar too. And have you seen any others? Animals in Translation. Liz posted that one.
Yes, that's actually a good, that's, what's her name? Temple Granlund, right?
Mary Temple Granlund.
Yeah.
I'm going to post that one.
Yes.
And Terry posted a link. I'm going to just show this link really quick here. I think
Jen. Never ignore a fart.
Absolutely.
Amen. That's in the Groomer Bible, wherever that is. Absolutely.
That's going into the Master Groomers Counselor Standards and Practices.
I'm writing it there. I'm writing it in there.
Is that what you're calling it? Now. Is that the correct scientific term for that?
Yes, it is. That is
okay, I'm going to write Mary. Temple, GRAN,
Oh, my goodness.
Brandon. I want to get animals in translation.
Hey, hi, Jesse
Can we
Ramirez.
write that on our list if you're
I'm
watching?
so excited. One of the guys that Jesse Ramirez is in our chat room, and he uses my Grand Champion Bowie to compete with. He's with the PetSmart National Groom Team. He's awesome. Chicago groomer.
Wow.
Boy,
Welcome.
PetSmart is so lucky to have him. So I wanted to ask you a question, Dara.
Yes.
You run a school. How do you communicate to students that are just coming there brand new to the grooming industry to learn to groom as a profession? They're trying to, obviously they must like dogs and they want to work with them. How do you communicate that more, I don't know, sort of spiritual, psychological side of working with animals to them? It's one thing to teach them the safety and the steps to the skill itself, but how do you get them to see the whole dog? And how do you do that with brand new people who are brand new?
That is very much a challenge because you get focused, and when they're trying to learn one thing at a time, whether it's bathing, clippering, prepping, I think the one thing that I myself personally tend to do, that I think they relate to, when I'm standing at a table with them and I see a leg being held up a little too high, I'll step up and go, how does this feel? And put it on them, because they're really not registering in their mind, because they're so focused on, I don't want to cut them, I don't want to hurt them, that they don't process that leg being a little too high or a little too far, or how that feels. So when you put that pressure on them and do it on them, they go, oh, I didn't think about it in those terms. So I kind of manipulate them a little bit. And then usually once I do, they kind of start seeing that. I also, you use those mirrors. There are mirrors in a room for a reason, that I can have eyes in the back of my head to see what's going on behind me when they don't know. So if you see it, you can say, how would that feel to you? And put it back on them and ask those questions. How does that feel? What do you think they're feeling? So that's kind of, I know when I'm on the floor teaching, it's those, but I know Chrissy has different ways, and Chrissy is her calming, and she quiets down, and her voice level lowers, and she has this way, and she'll start humming to them, and you can just see that everything just starts kind of flowing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is using and manipulating, and just that little pressure on them. They go, oh, or a little squeeze on their wrist where they're, the pull of a finger for a nail trim, holding the Dremel against somebody. They're not putting that into context.
Right.
You don't know what it feels like. And I know with nail trims and the Dremels, when you go to a nail salon and they go a little too deep, what that does. So especially some of these girls that come in with the long flowing nails, it's like, haven't you had somebody go just a little too deep in what that feels like?
You see what the master,
nothing.
I want every groomer in the country that has fake nails to please look at the 4 of us master groomers here. With our natural nails.
Mine are shorter than they usually are.
Okay. I love it. I love that Kat Samard said in here that she records the people she trains and then has them watch the video. That's a great technique.
That's a great idea. And when I was working with Dara, with her students at the whole Pet Grooming Academy, because of course, as a visiting educator, they always want your opinion, and they're like, what do you think of this? And what do you think of that? So what I would do is say, I'm going to snap a picture, stand near the dog. I'd show your dog, like how you stack them for the show, or, straighten them out. And I would take a quick shot from both, either side or different angles. And then I would, when we have lunch, we'll sit down and we'll go through and we'll critique. And we can figure out, what do you see and what do I see? Instead of just being like, oh yeah, that looks good, or that looks nice. So and then delete the picture after you're done, unless they want that picture. But yeah, video is even better, because then you can watch their actual actions on how they're using. But if you don't have time to stand and take a whole video, a quick photo, couple quick snaps of the photograph, at least you can go back and look and blow things. For me, I'm old, I wear glasses. I can blow things up big and look at lines and look at blending and those kind of things. So
I love Kat says she also turns the high velocity dryer on her trainees so that they know what it feels like.
It feels like.
Yeah, they got to know. Or especially when you have the condenser and you put it up and
near the ears.
Not a fan of the condenser, especially in new students, because they don't know what that power's like and what it's doing to the skin and how damaging it is. There was a time that I threw them all away. It's like, if I see another condenser in anybody's hand.
And then I went there and I found some, because I like to use them, but I know how to properly use them. I never use them on their head or their face or any, I use them under my arm to stretch coat quickly or whatever. But it's another tool that has to be used properly that we have. And can cause damage if not used properly.
I love Kim's comment. She said, recently I've noticed that some groomers get so defensive, almost hateful, when you bring up any new information. Kim, that is such an important point. I thank you so much for raising that. I see it too, don't you? There's this kind of I call it old school. There's just this old school thinking that just says, I don't need to learn anything. I got this down. I've been doing it for 40 years. I've been doing it for 30 years. I've been doing it for 10 years. I don't need to learn anything new. I know how to do this. That is a problem, because there's new science. It's changed everything. I mean, anal glands, ear plucking, what you can clipper and what you can't, all that, the science has really changed on a lot of stuff. And if you also don't know the new science about how dogs read us and what they can feel and how they communicate, you're missing some major stuff.
I just actually got yesterday. I actually finished my Reiki Crystal Master course, and it goes into pets as well. Thank you. So, and I actually was thrilled that they included these scientific like journals, posts and things that went into how energy is perceived by animals and how we can how they actually can measure these things. And so for me, I was like, this is the first time, because I've been taking these classes forever, and this is the first time that anyone has ever said, oh, and by the way, download these articles from this medical journal and this veterinarian journal. And I'm going, thank God somebody's out there actually publishing this stuff now.
The energy we emit is absolutely scientifically measurable. It absolutely is. We have the technology now to measure those things.
Yeah, and one of the things,
it's amazing.
One of the studies that I talked about in my human dog coevolution class is one that was done out of Vienna, a woman who's finishing her PhD at University of Vienna. And she found that dogs feel like what they call in contagion, meaning that what is being discussed in a room, if a room is stressful. I mean, they found out that ficus plants will die in a house where there's a divorce going on because people are fighting all the time.
Yeah.
The plants will actually die from the stress in the air.
From the negativity, right?
Yes, it's true. And dogs absolutely will. Like if you're just, if you're, on a ranch and you're stressed and they're just sitting in a crate waiting to be picked up and go home or whatever, or waiting to go into the tub, they are going to be feeling what you're feeling. And if you're feeling stressed and upset at somebody in the front room or whatever, they're going to pick up on that, and they're going to feel what you feel, because they don't have the cognitive processing about things that you and I do. They just take it directly in. They absorb and observe their environment in detail, and they take it in and they feel it. That is how they process information. And it's something that we have a tremendous obligation to keep the mood and the stress of the place that we work with them.
That was one of the things I said at Dara School when I was there with the students. I just kept trying to reiterate that over and over again, that they are energy sponges. So all of that, they are bombarded by all of that stuff. And we have to be aware of it. If you're working on a dog and you're yelling to the groomer next to you, and, you know, even if you're just having a conversation back and forth and it's friendly and jovial, if that dog is already stressed or scared and doesn't know that that's the vibe of the area, you know, because they can adjust to those things. If they come from a loud household, they're used to a little bit louder environments. But what if you have a pet on your table that comes from, you know, two elderly people that watch TV all day and it's very quiet and there's not a lot of traffic in their home and not a lot going on, and you put them in that, they're just sucking up all of that and they don't know how to process it. So, you know, I kept trying to tell that to the students, because there is a direct disconnect, and they don't think about that. They think they're so hyper focused on the actual groom that they're not as focused on the actual animal they're grooming.
Yeah. Kim Schreiber asked, in the old school subject we were talking about earlier, are there any stats out there on how many groomers do continuing education or adopt new practices?
I don't think there's any statistics on that at all. I don't think anybody is going to bother with that unless we really start getting into licensing. Then I think statisticians everywhere will want that data to be gathered. But I'm not sure that we have any reliable groups to even draw any statistics from.
I wonder if the WPA, after sending out some of their surveys,
they might have eventually. They might have answers for us like that. But that would be very interesting.
I think it is probably very true. Just even from casual conversations I've had with people like at Barkley that put on conferences and stuff, the vast majority of groomers, even in a given geographic region, let's say you go to, Seattle, Tacoma, and you hold, the Northwest Grooming Show, how many groomers are in an area and how many people are actually attending. The number of groomers who actually read Groomer to Groomer magazine or get involved in professional education and advancement, or ever have even attended one trade show, is the vast minority of groomers. And
you have a stat, don't you, Darren?
Angie, I wanted to say, Angie says WPA survey should have that soon. Now, something about statistics that I want you to know is that the survey is only good as the data that it can actually collect. So if the majority of groomers out there who've never been to a show, who don't care about licensing, don't even answer the survey, we're already skewed. Right. So, I mean, that's an interesting thing about statistics, and we do cover that in the master program, but that's something that we need to think about when we are reading peer-reviewed journals and we're looking at statistics. We have to understand a little bit about how they arrive at those statistics before we could then use that material to justify something that we're trying to prove. Right. So that's something that it's deep. It's deep. So,
I think,
so you should know that.
I think I want to say I saw it in Pet Age, or Pet Industry, one of the industry magazines, and they had one not too long ago that showed that there's a very small percentage. It's like 5% in our industry of groomers that do continuing ed. And if you even put it out there now, just at how many are the summit, for instance, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but that you would think that would be a 1 or 2 or 3,000 person summit attendance. I know I've gone to expos and outside of the industry, and there's tens
Hundreds
of
of thousands sometimes,
thousands of
yes.
people.
Depending on the
And
convention, yeah.
we look at the statistics just from Barkley alone over the years, and I don't think there's a large increase at even Groom Expo.
So if
They
you think
stay
about
right
it,
around
we're kind of
8,000
the ones who
viewers.
are getting continuous education are kind of in an echo chamber.
Yeah.
We absolutely are in a body of people, a group of people who do continuing education, who go to classes. So when we meet maybe a majority of groomers out there who've never bothered, never been to a show, own a whole business, sent their kids to college, retired, had a lovely little grooming business, never went to one show, never did anything different. So these are the people who we're trying to reach who, for whatever reason, good or ill, haven't decided that maybe growing in knowledge is better for their business, who have not come to that conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Oh,
Leonard, I'm sorry you missed the summit too. You can actually, is it too late? Can they buy a pass?
they might be able to, if you go to the website and enroll, you might be able to pay a fee. I don't know.
I think the recordings are available for maybe another week.
Yeah, but I think they're just available for people who had paid that ticket.
Oh,
but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you should investigate that. I wasn't in charge of that part of it.
Yeah, you might want to contact Christine Pearson or Mary Aquendo.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
About whether or not you could still buy the recording.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, it said it was sold out, huh?
Well,
I thought they were trying to open up some more, but
that was the original summit. I think now we're talking about can she buy the recording? Yeah. I would try to buy the recording. I don't know why they would turn you down.
Well, there's another one coming up, the Behavior and Handling Summit. Is the next one, so keep watch on that one. That one is March. So I'll be doing a frequency class. Michelle, aren't you doing something also?
Yeah, I'm doing a couple of them for behavioral. I'm doing working with employees, the behavioral employees, and then I believe
that's a good one.
We're going to do a modified 5-step for groomers.
Oh, good. Jennifer, are you doing anything?
I don't think so. Is that a Barkley event?
No, it's with Mary and Chris. Right, it's another one of the summits that they're doing. It's all behavior and handling those kind of topics.
No, and but I was just on the general subject of accessing continuing ed. One of the good things about the pandemic, of course, is much more accessible options for people to get continuing ed, like these wonderful summits and these wonderful conferences online. I know I just got the email today that Barkley announced that Intergroom is going to be online in April instead of live in New York City, which none of us, I think, are surprised to see. But they're still going to have the full conference, all of the workshops. The only thing they're not going to have is the full-out grooming contest exactly the same way. But they're going to have all of the booths, and they're going to have all of the workshops, and I'm still doing the same programs that I was going to do. And it's really, I mean, who couldn't attend that? I mean, the price is amazing, and you don't have to do hotel and traveling and taking off work. It's really a good option for people.
And the thing is that if you were planning on, say, if you budgeted for yourself or your business to spend X amount of dollars for attending these shows, and now there is no in-person attendance, how much more will you be able to get since you've already budgeted that, those funds, or you've already said I'm going to spend X amount of dollars to do this? Now you have some extra change in your pocket, so you could actually bulk up on the classes and the additional things like these little summits that we're doing, and these I see so many different classes now. I was just like, the other day I was writing down ones that I'm interested in that I think I want to take. And these are some people that I've never seen before or heard of, but I'm super excited. The more people that come out and are wanting to teach things, I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
let's get this information out there. So where there's a will, there's a way. You know, if you really want to learn and know and grow, then it's available to you. The pandemic can't stop you.
And learning becomes contagious. The more you get it, the more exciting that you feel. So
yeah,
it's so much fun. I could just take classes all the time. It's awesome.
Yeah,
I just signed up for another one, but it's all business.
But that's all good too. I mean, there hasn't been a single business summit I haven't been to that hasn't been truly amazing.
Have you been doing outside of the industry ones?
Yes, I have. Today I learned the history of the vision rehabilitation therapist and as it evolved through the centuries. So yes, I'm well versed in it now. I'm getting ready to write a paper about it.
There you go.
That's amazing.
Somebody's
gonna slap an honorary cap and gown and
I know.
big hood on you with all sorts of like honorary
titles
PhDs for all of your amazing work, Michelle.
That almost made me cry
last night.
True.
She's like mastermind, I mean, she just absorbs it all. So
Angie Coates says she's gotten to go to 7 trade shows this year because of them going online.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Awesome.
It's like it's insane the amount
Kat
that
Smart
you
says it's a new addiction. I agree. I totally love it.
I do miss them though.
Yeah,
I know. I miss them.
The energy of it.
Yeah, there's something to be said about learning in a classroom and not a virtual classroom. It's not the same.
But hopefully everybody now having gotten more opportunities to learn online once the trade show in persons, once they begin to resume in person, hopefully this summer, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them scheduled starting in June. So hopefully with that, we can, hopefully by then we'll be able to do that. Yeah.
They just opened outdoor dining in California or indoor dining in California and let everybody come out of their house. So, I mean, maybe something good will happen.
No, I can only hope.
All right. So everything tonight we have been talking about really leads up to next month. And I posted it in the link for everyone who's still with us to know that next month we are talking every week. We've got 4 weeks developing holistic awareness. And our first one goes with what we ended tonight with, the awareness of our energy. So that'll be our next week, learning to be self-aware of the animal's reaction to energy and their surroundings. So we have our work cut out for us for that one.
And
I'm
Kim,
sure
there is no reason to be disrespectful. I don't care who you are. I work with some really high-end clients, and some of them are used to ordering around servants, and they find out really quickly that sweet goes a long way in my salon. I do expect everybody to treat everyone with respect, and that includes the clientele. There's not enough money in the world to pay me to take abuse. And that is the truth. That is the very truth of it. So no, dog owners cannot be disrespectful because of the lack of continuing education. If they don't like where they're going, then they have the choice to respectfully go somewhere else. And that is everyone. So
I was going to say there's more of them than there are of us.
That's right.
Well, I feel like it's my job to present them with the education, with the reasoning behind why I won't do something or why I do something a certain way, a specific way, or why I follow a specific protocol, and if they are, not wanting to take in that information or just want what they want when they want it, then I just know that that's not the customer for me. And I have no problem saying, I'm not your groomer. You know, I'm not the person for you. And I don't take it personally, and I don't try and force anything on them.
Right.
Here's the information. If you agree, let's move forward. If you disagree with this, that's great. There's plenty of other groomers that have other methods and other ways, and that's your job to find them. But if you want them to remain here, this is how we do things. And so, and it's not being disrespectful to them. It's actually being extremely respectful to yourself.
Absolutely. And if you have a hot dog shop and somebody comes in and wants pasta, you say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have that service.
Right.
I don't do that. I don't have that behind the counter. You will have none of that here. Please go somewhere else. You just don't offer those services. It's as plain as that.
Yeah. And that's, that's about setting your energy and your intent when you walk into your business, and you know what you will and will not allow with your employees and with your customers even.
So speaking of positive energy, I want to send some of it to somebody in our chat room who's been a regular every weekend. She's an Illinois CMG, just like me. Lisa Herbold, who's on my IPPGA board, and I just a dear new wonderful friend in my life. Lisa Herbold just had surgery on the bones in her arm, and she's recovering right now. So energy, positive energy to you, Lisa.
And some light and love.
Lisa and I have been emailing. I have also been emailing with Kat. I got a lot of people over here that have been emailing us.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Names are getting out, ladies. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
People
are really taking notice.
That's a good thing.
So
that's a good thing. No, you have to. I think it's about balance. I think when somebody asks you, well, because people say all the time, because I always say I'm a holistic groomer. I never say I'm a groomer. I'm a holistic groomer. And then people always say, what's a holistic groomer? What makes you holistic? And so you need to, if you're going to claim that title, if you're going to claim that as your professional name and say that you work in a holistic manner, then you need to really get your responses down, because people are going to question that. And you need to be able to stand behind it and be proud of the methodology that you follow and the things that you do that are a little bit different than maybe, Tom's grooming down the street, but we're not any better than Tom's grooming. We're just different. It's a different point of view, and it's for a different client that's looking for the same point of view that I have, or that you have as a groomer. That is something that, like Jennifer was saying earlier, or somebody had mentioned in the messages in the chat comments, that sometimes when you present information that is not within the norm, of everything that's already out there, and you're presenting new information, even if it's backed by science, even if it's, something that has been being practiced for quite a while, a lot of people will meet it with disdain, or look at you like, oh, you're just jumping on the bandwagon, or you're, looking for buzzwords. Be aware that if you're going to take those things on, that title on, then you need to have yourself set and know where you stand within those parameters of being a holistic groomer. Because the more this gets out there, the more people are going to question and are going to ask.
Just like in a good debate, be prepared to defend your position. If you say, okay, we don't offer that shave down service here, and a lot of them go, well, why not? Be able to explain it. Have a little 4-page pamphlet ready. Absolutely give them all the information that you can to support your claim. Then they can make an educated decision on whether or not they want to frequent your establishment. That's how it's done. That's how it's done properly. That's the scientific debated method. That's how you do it. And 9 times out of 10, because you took the time to educate them and give them this information, then they're going to ask the next person questions, and they'll be like, oh, okay, I get it now. And that information is readily available if they do a little research online. So it's not like we're just shooting in the dark. Then they're going to come back around, make an appointment to go, show me what you got. And then you have a chance to show them the magic. Yeah, absolutely.
Well said.
All right.
We have no more comments.
Lisa, feel better. Heal
Yes,
well.
absolutely.
That's not. No, none of us want to hear that. So I hope you get better quickly. And yeah, no, I think we're kind of wrapping up. I wonder if people feel threatened. Yeah, people always feel threatened.
Yeah,
change is hard, but that's life. And if you can't get new information and adapt to it, what kind of a person? And think about in every aspect of our life. What if we couldn't learn how to use new kinds of telephones, or learn computers and the internet, or learn to drive new kinds of cars? What if we couldn't learn or adapt anything to any new information? How horrible our life would be. So, yeah.
And that's I'm going to give you a little bit of homework, because we are talking about holistic, and we're talking about really being mindful of the whole picture. I challenge all of you to look up on YouTube or on the internet about the work of Rupert Sheldrake.
Rupert in the comments. Type it out.
Yeah, yes. Rupert Sheldrake studies morphic resonance. And that is the energy that connects us all. He has some really interesting studies, some interesting experiments he did with migration and birds. And it's really interesting how we really are connected. The more I read into his work, the more connected I know that we really are. We are an entity. The earth is an entity that is connected to all of us. And we are very much of the earth and very much of the moon that pulls us in different directions. We are of this system. And in that, we are all connected. All of our matter is connected. So he's a really, really interesting scientist. And his son, Cosmo Sheldrake, has some really interesting music as well.
All right, I'm looking him up right now.
Put up the link for everybody. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Sheldrake.
Yes.
Sheldrake.
Rupert Sheldrake.
It's true, Kat. It's like when the full moon comes, there's actually crime goes up. I mean, that's true. That is a true statistic. Crime goes up when there's full moons. So, yeah. It's there's all sorts of things. I mean, the temperature of the sun, just the weather, it affects people's behavior. Everything is affecting us at all the time, and we just have to be aware of it. That's why awareness, taking a second to just notice everything and gather in, and I'm sure we'll talk about this next week with energy, but just being able to be aware of what's happening around you and pick up on the mood and just try to listen and try to read the room, all of those things. I can't say that I'm a holistic groomer yet because I can't get the rest of my staff to behave like I do.
You are a holistic groomer.
You are a holistic groomer.
I can't guarantee. I cannot guarantee my clients yet that they're gonna, because I can't even get. I'm still trying to get them to talk to the dogs and not to each other all the time. And if I can get my staff to do that, then I can start talking about being holistic.
Well, I think it's more than anything, it's about that. It's about that balance. About finding that balance.
Yeah.
I hope my staff listens to the show.
we all
just start replaying it.
I'm not dissing them in any way. They're hardworking, good people who love animals, but this piece of being about the animals and into the animals, and that other end of the leash thinking, they're just not there yet.
I have to say, Kate and I took a GoPro one time. This was amazing. So I worked with Kate Clayson at Balanced Paws in Fountain Hills, Arizona, and it's a complete holistic salon for cats and dogs. We put a GoPro on a lab, on a doodle, on a little teeny weeny chihuahua, and we kept the GoPro rolling from the minute they came in the salon to the bath, to the blow dry, to the haircut, to the crate.
Yeah.
And it changed our complete look of how these dogs see what we do.
How do you get the GoPro to stay on the dog? How do you keep
we
a
had
GoPro
a
on
little,
the dog?
either we had it on strapped around, like around their collar. It hung from the collar. Now the Chihuahua, we had a little vest after the haircut. We put the little vest on it. And when we were grooming on the table, we set the GoPro either on the arm of the table at their eyelet, like where their eyesight would be, so that we were still seeing from their perspective. That was a game changer for both of us. And I'm talking 3-4 years ago we did this. So it's not like we did this 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. It was just one of those things that we were going to take a video to put on the site to show from the dog's perspective. Once we watched it, to edit it, we were like, oh my God, we've got to do this and see what's it like on a big dog? What's it like on a little teeny dog?
Yeah.
The cats were it was even more so for them.
That's a great idea. I got to figure out,
just to see how they, how they judge to jump, because you see the the movement and everything. So understanding things from their perspective is such an eye opener.
Yeah. Do you have any of those videos you can share?
I can ask Kate, because I know I'm almost positive.
That would be really interesting to have one of those.
That was a game changer for us.
Yeah.
I would like that. I'll stand in line for that as well, Melissa.
Yeah. Even the amount, even how you hold
might
that
be a new seminar,
and how you, like when they're in that tub, we're looking down on them. They're looking up at us. And so the perspective is completely different. I'll talk to Kate and see if I could get some copies of those, because that
would make a great workshop.
Yeah, it was such a game changer.
Yeah. Let's talk to Kate.
Yeah. Even just the fact our hands, like your hand coming in to grab at them or grab things, and you just don't think of it that, that's how we,
claws.
Yes. Yes. And your hand, like you're coming in, like, come here. Mm-hmm. And they're like,
see how that even looks to you?
That's exactly how it is. And you're like, oh my God, I look like a big giant monster.
Yeah.
And so,
I was just thinking Michael Jackson with those nails.
Yeah.
Thriller.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
You change your whole body language. You change how you approach them, even, because you're walking up and you're like, come here. And now you're going like, oh, okay, let me not reach right into their face. Let me come from the side. You just start to think differently when you can actually appreciate that they are not up here with us. They're down here. Mm-hmm. And most frequencies are actually a little bit lower than our waist. Yeah. So that, electronic frequencies, stay within it's almost like an invisible shield going around everything. Mm-hmm. And so they are right in that mix of all that energy too. So put them in an energetic spot where we have blow dryers, clippers, and all this electronic equipment. And then on top of it, put people who are trying to work fast. Mm-hmm. It's a harrowing experience. I wouldn't want to be a dog or a cat and just, have to experience that. So that's when you take those things into consideration, you start to change the way you actually groom.
Yeah, it does. And you can't go back. Once you walk through the door, you look back and it's just a wall. It's it's done.
Excellent point, Michelle. Yeah.
All right. Melissa, I'm going to hold you to at least one. So let's see if we can
Yeah,
get a snippet next
I'll
week.
text Kate tonight. Yeah, I'll text Kate tonight.
Because that would be really neat, because that would help with our awareness. And so I did post, and I will post for everyone so that you ladies have it also. February being Developing Holistic Awareness Month. And I will give a sneak peek for March, because I think everyone's going to love March and they're going to be all over us. March is going to be Combating Allergies.
Oh.
So we've got 5 weeks in March for skin, nutrition, environmental products, and balancing the skin and coat because of allergies.
That's great.
Right up somebody's
Great.
alley.
And Michelle, did you ever find the link of that guy, the study about the connection of all things? Did you ever get the link to that Michelle recommended?
I posted it.
Okay. I'm going to look in the comments for it.
Yep, I posted that, and I did post one of his videos also. And I posted for everyone the upcoming seminars on Mary's website. And we have a lot of, I posted the books also, so the ones we talked about earlier in the evening. And we've got some big events coming up, so lots going on. I got to get better about writing down all these events so I can share them with everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll have more coming up ourselves. Oh,
well, have a great week, everybody.
I know.
Yes, you do.
Just so you know, right now in Chicago, 5 to 8 inches of heavy wet snow.
Oh my gosh, we got hail today.
Wait a minute. I was just going to rub it in that you're in Arizona where it's gorgeous and warm, but you got
hail, dude. Hail.
Yeah, hammered.
It's
bad.
Even in Arizona.
Yeah.
I'm
it's cold. It's only like what, 50 for us. It's cold, 50 degrees, 40, 30. It's supposed to
I'm sending it your way, Dara. Don't you worry.
I know. I'm watching it. And it was 19
next.
degrees here today. Oh, I miss sunny Florida. I'm not going to lie.
You still have your suntan.
I do a little bit. It's fading. So I'm looking at some dates next month to go back for a couple days to refresh and re-vitamin D myself. And get through the final push of the winter.
And congratulations on your paper, Michelle. You are a constant inspiration.
Whew, we're going to get through this.
Yep. Yeah. And Melissa's
get through it.
Finishing your Reiki.
Oh, finishing my Reiki. Yeah, that was a long time coming. I did not have my master's in crystal Reiki. So that was something that I really wanted to do because it's a practice that I love. So, and again, it ties us back to the earth. It brings that energy, that earth energy in, and it's amazing what, the things that you can do when you just balance yourself and ground yourself back to Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
We need that, especially me, because I'm the woo woo in the clouds all the time. So I need to be brought back.
My farewell comment is I want to say to Kat Samard, who said, "Hire me, Jennifer." Oh, Kat, you are hired. If you would move up here, oh my God.
I was going to say, she's got to travel.
Yeah.
We need somebody that lives in Florida that wants to hire us, or Hawaii. I would love
part-time, Kat. Part-time.
Part-time.
You can still go to your beautiful place in the Ozarks and then come and be with me. You and I will transform the holistic energy of my staff.
I have cookies.
All right, I'm wrapping this up, ladies.
Well, she wants her massage. This is what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, okay, I don't care. Massage.
Yes,
look,
she's clearly enjoying that.
Yes.
All right, love you guys.
All right, I'll see you later.
Everybody, have a great week.
All of the people in the chat room.
Yes,
thank
you all.
Yes, thank you for joining us
again, and we'll see you next week. Have a good night.
Good night,
bye, everybody.